Chapter 1. The Unlikely Beginning. As a couple, Cheryl and I have not been together for very long, although we have known each other for 30-plus years. We were both married to other people for most of our lives. Cheryl's father, whom I never got the chance to meet, was an avid outdoorsman and taught Cheryl and her two brothers about fishing, hunting, and camping. Cheryl has taught her 4 daughters, who are now teaching their young children how to fish. Her father's legacy is now 4 generations deep. For my part, I was always an athlete. I played hockey for many years, and still, to this day, can skate circles around all the young folk at any ice rink. For 10 years, I was also a Category 4 bicycle racer, specializing in century events around Michigan. Much training and dedication are needed, as well as a high pain tolerance to be able to be competitive in that world. As far as fishing goes, well, I kept bigger fish in an aquarium than I had ever caught on the few fishing trips that I went on when I was a kid. As fate would have it, one day I got a call from Cheryl, who was having trouble with housing, and I suggested that she and her soon-to-be ex move in with me, as I was also having family trouble and could use her help with my soon-to-be ex family. As they say, timing is everything, and this event could not have been better timed for the both of us. The listeners might be somewhat amused to know that her ex, Mark, is still friends with both of us and has given us some equipment for the boat. We have even taken him out on fishing trips. So, here we are, a newly formed couple living in my house, on which I was just finishing up an 8-year backyard makeover. I know that there are television shows where the couple leaves for the weekend only to come home to a complete transformation of their backyard. But we're just everyday people living in the real world, and between available finances and doing all the work myself, that's just how long it took me. Our backyard was my vision of what my retirement would be. Knowing that my future retirement would be limited by finances, I built a mini resort that we would just have to walk out the back door to get to. It makes for a great hangout spot for us and our friends. During one of our cookouts on a Saturday night, one of our friends, Dennis, asked us if we would like to go fishing the next morning on his boat. Cheryl immediately responded yes, and we were committed. At this point, I figured I was just going along for the ride, as I knew nothing about boats or fishing. Dennis owns a 26-foot trophy that he keeps at a Lake Erie marina. His trophy is a dedicated fishing boat that, in my opinion, is ideally suited for the Great Lakes in any but the worst weather. Our Lake Erie trip was nice and calm, and as the fishing gods would have it, Cheryl, of course, was the one catching the fish. Bass, as I recall. At the end of the trip, Dennis asked us if we would like to go out again the next Sunday, and we readily agreed. On that second trip, Dennis commented on how focused Cheryl was when it came to fishing and how much she enjoyed it. At the end of the trip, Dennis said that he still had his old boat of 15 years in his daughter's garage, and he would run it over to our house that night so we could take a look at it. He was looking to sell it and wanted it to go to a good home where it would be used and taken care of the same way he did for all those years. Now, mind you, he was really talking to Cheryl, as I was still just going along for the ride, so to speak. A few hours later, Dennis showed up with a 1997 Rinker Captiva 182. This was an 18-foot open bow boat which looked to be in pristine condition. As it turns out, this was the same type of boat, albeit many years newer, that Cheryl grew up with. She knew everything about the boat, including how to maintain it. She immediately walked up to it and hugged the bow like it was some long-lost friend. Dennis was asking well below fair market value for it, as long as it was going to a good home. That timing thing again. As it happened, we were getting a signing bonus for the union contract that we just settled, and I was going to have the money for it. We owned 2 Buick Century cars that are not rated to tow anything, but one did have a trailer hitch on it, so I told Dennis that if the car would pull it, we would buy it. The boat has stayed with us ever since that night. Cheryl was tasked with the responsibility of teaching me what I needed to know about the boat to safely launch, run, and retrieve it.